Good morning and welcome to Real Talk with Chen. I'm very excited today. We have Hillel Fuld, an American-Israeli technology blogger, a vlogger, business advisor, and international speaker. Good morning, Hillel.
That was an introduction. I should pay you for PR.
Can you translate what I said? Blogger, vlogger for everybody?
I'm just a tech guy. I love tech, and I like to talk about tech, to write about tech, to do videos on tech, to do audio on tech, all in on tech.
I want to tell you something interesting. I don't know much about high tech. I'm not a high tech person at all.
No one's perfect.
No, but I know you. I know about you. So this is something that you succeeded. You've reached people that are not into high tech, and you made high tech cool, interesting, attractive.
All right.
What's the secret? How'd you do it?
Transcend tech. I mean, listen, it's an easy story to tell, right? I mean, Israel has many different stories. Doing Israel advocacy is a little harder, but telling the story through innovation, right? Everyone knows the disc on key, the thumb drive. Everyone knows Waze. I mean, I spoke to a group yesterday in who knows where. They knew Waze. Everyone knows Waze, right? Who doesn't know Waze and Wix and Mobileye? Everyone. So, telling that story is pretty easy. My job is pretty easy, I have to say.
I'm from Italy, and we have Chiara Ferragni. I don't know if you heard about it. She's one of the top bloggers, fashion bloggers, like 20 million followers. You are a high-tech blogger, right? Do you receive all the time like samples of new things and inventions? How does it work?
Actually, I got a call last night. I'm in the middle of eating dinner. I get a call from Samsung Israel that they're sending me the new S21, which is awesome. I haven't worked with Samsung in many years. That was a nice, surprising call. But yeah, I have received product from Google, Apple, Microsoft.
And you try them all?
Yeah, I mean, I just got the new Pixel from Google last week, 2 weeks ago, and playing around with it. And yeah, I could never have enough tech.
Your T-shirt with your little apple.
This is from Cupertino, actually, from Apple headquarters.
Tell me a little bit about your story. Like, where do you come from? How do you get to Israel?
From New York. Family's old school Zionist. Today, Zionist is like a dirty word, but I'm proud of it. I came to Israel when I was 15 from New York, and I studied in a high school in Jerusalem, and then I went to the army and yeshiva, and then studied in Bar Ilan political science, and totally accidentally transitioned into tech because I started writing about it, and entrepreneurs started to reach out. I'd offer some help, and one thing led to another, and here I am. A kid in a candy store every day is what I am, really. You
come with a very heavy last name. We all know about it now. We know about Ari Fuld.
Ari, I said just now, before I was talking about Israel advocacy, my job is easy to tell the story through tech, but his job is a lot harder. And he fought day and night on the internet to protect Israel. And I would wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, I'd see him debating on Facebook, and I'd say to him, Ari, go to sleep, what are you doing? And he'd say, I need to do this. And I said, but you're not convincing him. He said, but it's not about him. It's about thousands of people watching this dialogue. They have to know the truth. And he was right. He touched millions of lives. It's remarkable.
Did your life change since he is not here anymore?
I mean, is the Pope Catholic? Of course my life changed, right? Everything, people actually don't talk about, people talk about terror victims, people talk about maybe their spouse, but people don't really talk about what it does to a family.
Right.
Listen, thank God I have a strong family, but it tears a family apart, right? And so I never understood the concept of trauma before, but unfortunately now I do, and it's survivor mode. You gotta move on, but it's not easy. It's very much not easy, and his wife and kids are unbelievable. But,
how many brothers are you in the family?
5.
And he was number?
So Moshe, Donnie, Ari, me, Eitan. So he was number 3, number 4.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yet every morning you have a list on your Facebook, because I spied your Facebook page, I spied your Instagram, I spied everything, and you have. I don't know when you do it, because you go to sleep, seems like late. You wake up early in the morning and you have already a list, a huge list. As soon as I wake up like at 7 in the morning, it's already done there. Tips for being grateful.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if I'm going to get a little vulnerable here, we've all experienced a really rough year, with the pandemic. And so, I've taken it on myself to talk a lot about it, to write a lot about mental health. And we've all suffered. I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. Like 1 out of every 2 people is affected by mental health, now especially. And so, the first thing to do to get some, perspective is gratitude. So I really started these lists for myself. But I've gotten hundreds of messages from people saying that they wake up and they wait for that list and it inspires them to start the day. And so I'm happy that it helps other people. But truthfully speaking, I did it for myself. And it's a good thing. I wake up in the morning, I write 11 things I'm grateful for.
It's amazing. Are we spied?
Are we spied on?
Yes. Like, you are in high tech, okay? I go on Facebook, I'm looking for something the day after I get, are we spied? Should we worry?
So, I mean, that depends who you ask. From a technological perspective or even from a business perspective, obviously Facebook says absolutely not. In fact, the newest iPhone update now forces any app developer to ask the user if they're okay being tracked when they're not in the app. It's a brand new thing, which doesn't make Facebook very happy, but Facebook says they don't track you. I mean, it's a little bit hard I don't know. I mean, do they have like access to my speaker on my phone? I can't believe that, but somehow they do know things that I just talked to someone. Listen, they own WhatsApp, they own Instagram, so they do have. Scary. But then again, WhatsApp's fully encrypted. So I don't have an answer to that question. I want to believe not, but too many things have happened to all of us that beg the question: how did Facebook know that? Why is Facebook sending me an ad for something I just spoke about 10 seconds ago?
Exactly.
So I don't know. I don't know the answer. I hope not.
Where are we going? Where do you think we're going in 10 years' time? What's going to be?
In terms of technology?
Technology.
Everything's going to change. Really, everything's going to change from the way we, transportation, right? We're not going to own cars. We're not going to drive cars. They're going to drive us, right? I had a chance to sit with Amnon Shashua, the founder of Mobileye, last month, and we rode. I was going to say we drove. We didn't drive. We rode in his autonomous car from Mevaseret to Jerusalem to Mobileye headquarters without touching the steering wheel or the gas or the brake. It was merging into traffic. It was wild. So that's the future about transportation. But in general, the way we interact with computers, if you think about it, we're using a mouse, like clicking on it's super primitive. And even this phone, which is a supercomputer, we're walking around the streets like this. It's crazy. So that's going to change. And the way we're going to interact with computers is going to fundamentally change, whether it's glasses. Listen, Apple, Samsung, Microsoft, Google are all building glasses right now, AR glasses. So, might be a kind of hologram of the screen in front of me, and I'll be able to control it in the air, which you can do now, by the way. Microsoft has a product called HoloLens, and you see the screen in front of you, and you pinch to zoom in the air with no screen. So human-computer interaction will, in my opinion, fundamentally change over the next decade.
Scary.
Why scary?
I don't know. It scares me. High tech scares me.
Really?
Really. I
fun.
love the old
school?
Yes.
You remember when we were growing up, there was a rotary phone?
I loved it.
You're like making sparks. Like, it's ridiculous. There's a comedian, Louis C.K., who says that we used to hate people with zeros in their number because we'd have to be all the way around.
Exactly.
So now we've come to this. Who would have believed back then that we're going to have this thing? It's literally a supercomputer. This has more RAM in it than our computers had 5 years ago. It's crazy.
3 top companies that you are very, very excited about.
Oh, wow. You're going to get me in trouble here.
I know. If I get in trouble, don't say them. But maybe just tell me.
Give me criteria. Just that I'm excited about in general?
Yes.
It could be any tech company?
Absolutely.
Only Israel? In general?
In general.
I think drone companies like DJI. DJI is the company that basically owns the drone market. And I think drones illustrate how far we've come technologically more than anything. Because you're talking about a device this big that flies 5 miles, faster than a car basically, and records 4K video, and it has 19 GPS satellites attached to it at any given moment. It's crazy technology, and anybody can just walk in the store and buy one. So drones excite me a lot, and then what we talked about before, which is AR, VR, MR, all the mixed reality, augmented reality, virtual reality. It's pretty wild technology. There was a company that actually failed and shut down called Magic Leap that raised billions of dollars. The CEO is actually a religious Jew, and they built something called mixed reality, which is virtual reality is I put on a helmet and a headset and I don't see the real world. It's another world. Augmented reality is I see the world and I can augment another thing on top of it. But then there's mixed reality, which is literally a mixture between real world and virtual world. And it bends your mind because it's unbelievable. You put on this thing, you cannot differentiate between what's real and what's not real. And they failed because they couldn't figure out how to apply the technology. But the technology itself, when I demoed it, it blew my mind.
Incredible. Last questions. We are in post-election or pre-election. I still don't know what's going to be. But you are more right-wing leaning. High-tech world is more left-wing leaning.
It's true.
How do you navigate? Is it a problem?
I generally don't talk about politics because I've gotten in trouble in the past when I did, but sometimes obviously I can't control myself because I'm very passionate and emotional about Israel, especially after Ari, and so I do sometimes talk about it. But I'm like you said, I'm like a sore thumb. Everybody's left and I'm right. Although I have to say, as of late, I've spoken to several entrepreneurs that said, "Don't tell anyone, but I'm really a right wing."
I knew it.
But the vast majority of the innovation world is left liberal leaning for sure. I think generally speaking, I have tons of friends, investors, and who fundamentally completely disagree with my opinions, and we're buddies, and everything's fine. I think it's a question of mutual respect.
Right.
But yeah, I definitely stand out, in the tech world for sure.
Keep on doing this amazing and enthusiastic thing you do, because you're taking us all in.
I appreciate that. Thank you. And thank you for the opportunity. This is a lot of fun.
Thank you, Hillel.